Hi, my name is AnaMichele, and I was an intern here in the summer of 2021, and this is my passion project. So Spirit Juice allowed the interns to pitch an idea, and then they provided us with the resources to bring that idea to life. And so this piece is on Father Anthony Bush, who is the pastor at St. Stanislaus Kostka, and it tells his story of transforming this once dying parish into a sanctuary for perpetual adoration. And so what was great about this project is that Spirit Juice already had a pre-existing relationship with St. Stan's. They had actually filmed the opening of the sanctuary, which this story is all about, trying to build that sanctuary. So a big part of this story was kind of drawing from elements of narrative filmmaking. And so I really wanted to feature recreations. And so this first one came out great. We used a company vehicle and just, pretended like Father Anthony was getting out of the car. And then we transitioned into the attic. This is where we filmed his interview as well. Same location, the attic of the church. And it's great because, it's kind of, there's rubble, it's falling apart. So it kind of portrays it shows what he's talking about with the church falling apart. And so this scene here, this was definitely a challenge to light in showing how he hears this call from Our Lady. So how do we portray that? So we saw the stained glass image of Our Lady, and so we thought, okay, we're going to direct the light from here. And so setting that up perfectly and being able to see that took a lot of time, but it really paid off in the end. And so while we were filming all these scenes, we were very short on time. We had a very just short time frame to get this all done. So we sent another one of our camera operators out to film all the B-roll that you see here in the parish, which is just beautiful. And so, filming his interview, actually, we did a lot of preparation for that. Before we went and actually filmed him, I went to the parish, visited him, and conducted a pre-interview. And so that was the starting point, just getting the bare bones of the story. What is this about? What points do we want to cover? And so then when we actually went to interview him, in front of the camera, I knew what to ask him, and then later knew what would become these moments that we see on screen. And so actually, what you see here, a lot of these are props that I either had to make myself or that I was fortunate to borrow from Spirit Juice's prop department. So a lot of thought went into these little details that you see on screen. This $3 million check, the sanctuary plan, that was a pre-existing Spirit Juice prop. And so just the little details that really make it clear what's happening. And so this scene was just, it was great because all natural lighting, the backlighting from the windows. We just had access to different locations in the rectory, and they all just worked out amazingly. This scene in particular I love because it kind of strays away from the kind of traditional church setting that you typically see in more Catholic pieces, just showing kind of the ordinary life. What is Father Anthony doing outside of presiding at Mass? And so kind of this lighting effect was achieved by, we had a light behind the door, the slowly opening of the door just created that beautiful kind of streak across his face. And so, back to the props, like, you don't think of food as props, but a lot of thought went into that too, like, in filming. How are we going to make this food look good or not show this food? So thought went into that. This scene, he was actually praying the rosary, which was great. Be like, okay, Father, you can pray, and we'll just film different angles. And so, a big motivation for doing this project for me was just the kind of central theme of turning away from the noise of the world, as he'll say throughout the piece, and coming into the silence of sanctuary to adore Jesus in the Eucharist. And so that was a story I was really drawn to, and a story that I really wanted to tell, and especially at such a beautiful parish with this iconic monstrance that you'll see in several of the shots. Working with Father Anthony and having that pre-existing relationship, it all just worked out so great. And so But one of the challenges was that as he's talking about the renovations of the church, in the past, the St. Stan's is still having some renovation, so they were redoing their floors. So we filmed over the course of 3 different days, and so there were different things that we could film on certain days. When we came back the 3rd day, the monstrance was actually moved to the other side of the church. So with the opening of the door shot, we had to be very careful about the camera placement, so you couldn't see that the monstrance was on the other side. So there were definitely some challenges, but I'm super happy with how it turned out. Definitely dramatic, definitely powerful, ending on this quote here from Father Anthony himself. So thank you for listening to my film breakdown, and I hope you enjoy it.
This is a very, very difficult time in the world and in the church. As a spiritual father, I love the people. And my concern is for their soul, for their salvation, but also that they have peace in the midst of all this chaos. How to bring them to know God, to love God, and to serve God. I'm Father Anthony Bush. I'm the pastor here at St. Stanislaus Kostka. I've been here 31 years. I came to the parish in 1990. The church was old and it was in need of a lot of repair. The roof was falling apart, the pillars in the church were falling apart, and I had been trying to get grant money to begin the repairs of the church. I did everything I could. We were actually told that they were going to probably close the parish. But this is their home. I felt completely at wit's end. I'm not competent to be a pastor. I don't know how to lead this forward. It was at that point that I heard Our Lady's voice. Make me Mother and Queen of the parish. Holy Mother of God, I entrust all this to you. I give it to you. Three days later, I got a call from the Archdiocese that we were awarded a grant to begin immediately the repairs of the church. As we got into that, it became more obvious that Our Lady was asking for something much more. She wanted a sanctuary to open the doors 24/7. So we've got this property between the church and the school, and that's where I envisioned building a separate sanctuary, a chapel. I needed the support of the people. All I knew to do was to write my experience. So every Sunday I'd put the writings out that inspired the people that we would move forward in this process, trying to fulfill this call. I was offered a $3 million gift to build the sanctuary. In the process, I began to realize that in conscience, I couldn't take the money. There were too many strings attached. And so I let go of the money. In a matter of 2 days, everything seemed to fall apart. We don't have the means to build such a sanctuary. I was at a very low point. The call to sanctuary is this not real? Was this all a figment of my imagination? Am I leading the people down a road that is not of God, not of Our Lady? In that moment, I had this profound experience of Our Lady's presence there. She said, I will not abandon you. And my son is preparing to manifest himself. And I felt unbelievable peace and a love that is indescribable. That experience gave me the consolation to just keep moving forward. And this all will come to fruition. All of a sudden, money kept coming. A lot of it was anonymous, some of it wasn't. Big donations. And so one door closes, another door opens, and it's consistent with the call, and so you walk through that door. The original plan was that we would build a sanctuary apart from the church, and that was no longer possible. We understood that the sanctuary was the church itself. The beginning of this sacred story began in 1999. The actual opening the doors to the parish began 2008. It's been a very, very difficult 22 years, but at the same time, the most graced period of my life. We're in Chicago, in this great big city, that there is a place that people can find a bit of refuge. And how many people have just come off the expressway and the doors are open? We've got to open the door. The doorknob is on the inside. We have to allow them to come in. And the purpose for having those doors open is so that the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of God, can bring us to encounter her Son.